for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
No. Seriously?
Oh, come on.
No.
You for real?
Dale.
Really?
Wow.
So maybe just a cable?
We can help you.
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination, AutoZone, your battery solution.
With performance this raw, you need air that's pure. We started with a firm belief that innovation could improve performance. With the success of 50 years and millions of filters behind us, we continue to look ahead. Guaranteed to protect against dirt and proven to provide up to 50% more airflow. This is filtration for the future.
The Pedal Commander is the world's most advanced throttle response controller. It's a plug-and-play unit that unleashes the power of your vehicle. Has 36 total settings, is easy to install, and makes the driving experience so much more fun.
Picks up RPMs way better, kind of like a race car, it responds.
Order now and use code FD2021 for $30 off your purchase.
Are you ready to party streets of Long Beach? Make some noise! Top 16, Chelsea to no power. As we are here, round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Yeah, make some noise. 2 years, 5 months, 2 weeks, almost 2.5 years, and this is the AutoZone Streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S. Ryan Sage, Jared Deenda here to call to action. The forecast is going to be absolutely beautiful. We normally kick off the season here in April, and this just looks so familiar. It feels good. Ryan, what are some of the thoughts going through your head showing up here in the building here today?
Yeah, you know, it really is an amazing feeling to be here, home for us. You know, home for us. worked here. Many of us live here for many years, and it's so awesome to be down here on the streets of Long Beach again. Just an amazing feeling, and it's such an interesting time of the year, being in September. It kind of feels a little bit like April, honestly, like with the weather, which is what we love about this so much. But the city and the Long Beach Grand Prix have been so gracious to us to allow this event to happen, and we got 2 Southern California events back to back, so I can imagine some craziness is going to be going down here on the streets of Long Beach.
And what I love most is, I don't know if you've experienced this now, but today, and probably more so tomorrow, a lot of people skipping school. I always call it skip day. But so many fans come up saying, thank you so much. Like, thank you, and like fist bumps, and like everybody's, so hyped. The vibe. It's just Vibe Tribe is alive here on the streets of Long Beach. So round 7, like you said, Ryan, we've had 6 previous rounds. Pro Spec will be showing up at Irwindale, the House of Drift, the iconic track, but it's all about the streets of Long Beach here today. What should we expect? We had a dynamic, busy, sweaty St. Louis. I mean, it was Pro Spec. It's a long marathon of a day. We kick things off in Atlanta, which is normally round 2, but that is the birthplace. 2004, 18 years ago. You see Odie win. What are your expectations? Taking a look at, all the variety of winners we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really awesome to watch competitively, and I'm glad you brought up St. Louis because, everybody, all the drivers, especially, and all of us, we're doing 16-hour days. This is a much different event weekend. It's much more.
We'll be done by happy hour.
It's much more relaxed. You can walk across the street to the hotel. But we have seen a tendency in these kind of championship matchups that are leaning towards 2 or 3 guys at this point in the season. Matt Field, Chelsea Denofa, and Frederick Osbo, all within 20 points of each other. Now remember, just the previous round, it was a 1-point difference between 1 and 2. We are seeing one of the most aggressive, one of the tightest, and in my mind, one of the most remarkable championship seasons, especially when we put that in the context of what happened in 2020 with COVID. So those 3 guys have been battling it out. We saw Osbo get that victory in St. Louis. He was able to put it together. He's been so close a couple times this year, had some podiums, had that mechanical in Erie, and those 3 guys have been battling it out. I think Osbo, as everybody, has been a little bit more quiet.
Yeah.
And now he's coming on towards the latter part of the season. I think that's very dangerous for those top 2 guys. But let's just remember, Chelsea Denofa and Matt Field have been on fire this year. So I expect that will continue through this event. And one of the things I love about Long Beach so much, the walls, right? Not because of crashing, but because it makes all the ambiguity of drifting go away. It just melts away because the track is so well defined.
Yeah, we're going to get in the zone, literally AutoZone. Again, our presenting sponsor here, Type S, which is distributed at AutoZone. But we've literally called them get in the zone. But here is the point standings. Matt Field leads the pack with 45. Chelsea Denofa, who had the lead, gets taken away right there in St. Louis, as you described. Freddie gets that #1 spot. Look at that. Ryan Turk quietly sits there in 4th. If you can remember, back in 2019, he didn't really like this track. Remember, he wrote off his car, had to bring a car that wasn't his initial competition car. Vaughn Gittin Jr., I mean, look at the names that are normally in the top 10. And admittedly, like, even Chris Forsberg said, this is my worst season I've ever had. So you got to keep that in mind, where by no means do I think it's like a changing of the guard, have they lost their luster, but it's showing you that anybody can win. And Ryan, that bears repeating. You never think about it. I always think about, we're coming to this track. You normally start the season here. You get the silly season, your car's ready, you've been training, you've been punching meat like Rocky, your car's tight and right, and you come here and you could just write that thing off. But we still have 1 round left, but to go into Irwindale after this track, and what's crazy is both of these tracks are no slouches. Neither of them are easy. They're unforgiving. They're scary. They're iconic. I mean, I was asked by Kenan Marshall, who works with Royal Purple. He says, "Who won the first ever Long Beach? Can you remember who it was? 2005?"
Ooh, wow. Jeez, my memory is
Three,
fading me there.
2, 1. Sam Hubinet won back in 2005.
Okay. Well, 2005, he won everything except for 1.
Right. So here are the headlines. This is what we really got to watch here this weekend. Title battle. The conversation is Field, Denofa, Osbo. Some crazy things would need to happen, and those 3 drivers would really need to fall off here in Long Beach as we go into Irwindale. Work to do. Vaughn Gittin Jr., he is our defending champion. Justin Pollock, dynamic, having fun out there. Speaking of Adam LZ as well, let's take a look at the Torque Drift course, preview a digital version as Dai Yoshihara. in that
Big
vehicle.
angle there
Yeah.
from Dai. Yeah, they're really cool. I love this rendition of Long Beach. Super accurate. You can see our first touch and go coming into that outside wall. Now, right there, that's our first outside zone. That's to get in the zone. Here is our outside zone number 2. A really important zone to set up this second touch and go here, where the judges want to see the butt of the car in that area. And what that does is allow you to get the right arc, the right angle through that inside clip. It's the one and only inside clip, and it's the one and only part of this track that doesn't have a wall that requires you to drive right up next to it.
Right.
So we do see a lot of compression in that section of the course.
This
and
is critical.
these are the sectors that the judges have laid out. Obviously, we've got 30 points for line and angle, 40 for style, and that is the way they are broken down. Kind of a little bit of a different points allocation. You got 6 points and 7 points for sectors 1 and 2, and then 7 for sector 3, 4, and 5, each 5 points each. So that is your overall layout here at the streets of Long Beach.
And today it's all about qualifying, and we've introduced given that 2020, we didn't have any qualifying. We just racked them and stacked them. We had double header weekends. We started in St. Louis. We had an event on Saturday. We had an event on Sunday. And minimizing that qualifying, I think, really helped out with streamlining the show. We got to what the essence is of drifting. Qualifying doesn't have any points bearing, but what is knockout qualifying, Ryan?
Well, it allows us to be able to take a merit-based approach into putting the bracket together. So we will do one lap with the entire field of 32 drivers, and there is one driver that's currently missing, driving in from the airport right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then the bottom 8 drivers, the bottom 8 scores will do one more lap, but they will not be able to place any higher than the drivers that have already qualified.
And that's what gets really interesting here. And taking a look, is that a correct number count on drivers? I'm seeing about 33 drivers if all the numbers add up. And as you said, there is one driver that is potentially en route, and he says that, like you said, we're getting to that because, yeah.
It's an insane story. You're the best one to tell it because you know it in detail. But when we get there, you can talk about it.
Yeah. Knockout qualifying, the qualifying goals, of course, you want to hit all those clipping zones and clipping points, both outside and inside. And we're talking about the get in the zone, auto zone, talking about the outside zones. Bill with 1L in the building. How we doing, homeboy? Long time no see. The man with the titanium legs is in the building, and it's great to see the white flowing beard. He's up in the stands. He's got his signature. California, the Cal gentleman. Thank you so much for joining us, man. All right. Our first up and our current points leader, Matt Field, the beast from the Bay. Speaking of Bay, he went out to the ocean. He went from the Bay, from the Delta, and now the ocean. The Ripper, aka the Rig Commander, was the boat commander. They got out to Catalina. I don't know if did you see that, Ryan? They went out to Catalina in Ripper's boat.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, dude. They got out. I'm stoked. They had a nice little siesta on Tuesday. Got out there. It was Wednesday.
That's a good way to kind of
Chill.
cool the nerves, get ready for a big event weekend, take a little relax, and then come out here guns a-blazing. You got to have that mentality coming into this event.
Again, we kept talking about it earlier this year, just Matt taking a different approach. Chill, cool, crank some adult libations, have a good time. That's what he's all about. Here we go. Here's our United States Air Force trivia. What were the first women, so the Wasps, Ace, Riveters, or Roses, our Air Force trivia. What were the first women to fly U.S. military aircraft known as? Were they the Wasps, the Aces, Riveters, or Roses? There's the question. What were the first women to fly U.S. military aircraft known as? We're going to find that question. The Air Force trivia is in the description of the YouTube live stream. So go down there, you'll see it, click the link, answer away. Thank you so much for the United States Air Force and their support, not only our country, but of course, Formula Drift. The Men's Journal knockout qualifying. We are live here on the streets of Long Beach, the AutoZone, streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S. As we get prepared here, you can see Chelsea Denofa waiting in the wings. And here are champion history. 2004 is only missing out of that diagram. That was Sammy Houbinet, but you see these iconic legends, absolute ledge of the game, from Sam, Reese, Tanner,
Forsberg, at one time, the only 3-time champion. Of course, Dai Yoshihara, Michael Essa, and then James Dean, the reign of the machine, 2017 through 2019. And it took 10 years for Vaughn Gittin Jr. to get his second championship. He is your defending champion. And here's Osbo earlier in practice, Ryan. I was running around here, but look at this. Doink, hit that back end. It whipped him in, hit that front end.
Yeah, there are crashes that we've become kind of used to here, especially in tandem when you're following, kind of getting led into a wall or getting lost in the smoke line. We also see some coming out of that first turn, which is turn 9 here for the Grand Prix, turn 1 for us, into that area of the touch and go where you see that big stack of tires out there. So it can get a little bit treacherous out there, and you got to be really, really careful. You're right on that razor's edge, and now we'll get Matfield back in the box here. He is ready to go. Our first driver up. We will go in ranked order. Matfield leading the current championship right now with 485 points. Chelsea Denofa and Frederick Osbo respectfully 14 and 19 points away. And we have 6 drivers that are within 100 points. That means that going into the last round at Irwindale, and actually once we leave this event tomorrow, we're going to really know, like, who's got the real mathematical chances. You know, I mean, under 100, yeah, okay, but you know, you usually see within 40, 50 points, that's striking distance. Yeah.
Who's in the game? Who's dropping a quarter in that video game ready play? Hey, by the way, Sammy Hubinette's in the building here as Matfield goes into our first little touch and go there. Woo! There it is. Now into the zone, auto zone, in outside zone, into the second, through that sweeper. Here's that second touch and go that we talk about, into the one and only Peninsula front clip, and crossing that finish line. What a way to start it. Our current points leader, Matfield, the beast from the Bay, in that Falcon Tire Drift Cave C6 Corvette. Did you hear me? I don't know if you heard that, but Sam Hubinette's in the building. He just sent me a photo. He said he can almost smell me. We can definitely smell the tires. Let's take a look at it again.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great to have him here. Matfield, our first driver up here, gets that nice little initiation. Right back on throttle, pushing out to that touch and go, right up there against the wall. Good transition back around, just about maybe 8 inches, maybe 6 inches off outside zone 1, a little bit off outside zone 2, but doing a really good job overall as we get into this final section here. Slightly off that final inside clip as he comes through the finish line. This will be a good start for him. Remember, trying to get as high as you possibly can on this first run to maximize positioning for these drivers. And we have seen this year, Jared, that our cutoff for the Pro Championship has kind of been in that 75-point range. And obviously, if we have a 32-car field, everybody that gets a score will make it through, but we still have some outside stories to tell. We did see a few wrecks in practice, so we've got a lot more drifting left to go.
Interesting enough, during the drivers' meeting this morning, the judges chose an ideal representation of a qualifying run, and that was actually Matt Field's run back in 2019. He scored a 99, so a near perfect run. That was all the way back in 2019, almost 2.5 years ago, as I described when we kicked off the show. 2 years, 5 months, and 2 weeks to be exact. And that's when we, again, Matt Field put down a 99 in qualifying. And it does bear repeating as well, no points at stake in qualifying. This is all about where you rack, where you go as far as bracket, and there is a score of 94. That is a 94, Matt Field. So what happens here with a powerful score like that, he can chill, he can kick back. He is guaranteed a spot. I mean, if there's not going to be 31 drivers that are, or 26 drivers theoretically that are going to get higher scores than him. So,
and 94, it has historically this season been a top 5 score,
right?
And definitely a top 10. I remember 93 was the most popular score at a couple rounds this year. So
right.
We've seen a lot of tiebreakers, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and just going back to that style. Speaking of style, turn it to 11, Chelsea Denofa in the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5. See how he handles the touch and go. Brings it all the way out there. Look at a long drag there. How's it going to fare for him? Hits that back end of in the zone. That outside zone 2 now. Quick little touch and go, hit it and quit it. I liked how he executed that final front clip, but Ryan, take note of how he goes out that touch and go, and it seemed like he hung on to it a little bit long. little Jack never let go Titanic moment there as we sit right next to the ocean, but it didn't set him up properly for the first outer zone. Take a look. What are your thoughts?
Well, we have to remember that the touch and go is just as it sounds. You touch and go at any part of that zone. Now, he gets real close out there, but he does have that little bit of a hiccup, and you can see he got into that second, the first official outside zone, maybe a little bit later than he wanted to.
Yep.
But again, very stylish here from Chelsea Denofa, pushing extremely hard. He's had a strategy this year at different rounds. I'm not sure if he's continuing that strategy, but this is the kind of driving that I think we really want to see. Even if you make these little mistakes, you're pushing so hard, and you're really giving the judges an opportunity to say, you know what, as far as style and fluidity are concerned, maximum points. Yeah, you might have got a little deduction here for line and angle, but we love that you're pushing the pace and really giving us a good show.
Yeah, like I said, with all great points. You talk about strategy as far as qualifying. What Ryan is talking about is potentially qualifying lower so you could be on maybe the right side of the bracket, go against higher qualifying drivers. That way you kind of clip off, get it out of the way, and then you start knocking off higher qualifying drivers. In theory and theoretically, you're taking out who are contenders in the championship. Wow, look at that, a 96 from Chelsea Denofa. And so look at this, line, angle, style. So I guess the judges really liked, and the angle that we saw with our naked eye, it looked like he hit that outside zone a little later than I thought and anticipated. All right, now, like I said, Frederick Osbo, and we saw it earlier, him in practice, hit the wall, spun him in, and here is minus the headlights. Fortunately, daytime event, but he will, you do need taillights in order to compete. Make sure that drivers can see when you're slamming on those brakes. But here goes Frederick Osbo, the Rockstar energy drink. Toyota Racing GR Supra. See how he handles it. Of the naked eye. Out to that touch and go. Definitely digs deep. Getting all the way to the outside zone. Getting the gold member in the zone, the second outside zone. Quick little touch and go there. Again, that is a touch and go. Tight to that front clip, Ryan. I really love starting from the top and working our way down. I think this is a good testimony of what to expect from other drivers that are potentially lower in ranking can look and see, oh, okay, got it. That's a 96, noted. You know what I mean? And the spotters are in their ear saying, yo, go here, go there. Yeah, and we see that kind of the cosmetic damage that happened to Osbo's vehicle. It doesn't seem to have had any effect on his performance whatsoever. You can see he does have a lot of angle, and it's a much different looking at it without that front part of his vehicle attached to it. And as he gets into that touch and go, he kind of sets himself up pretty well here for a nice smooth arc around that final inside clip. Taking a look out here, going to the touch and go. Maximum angle, but still staying on throttle and getting a smooth transition from touch and go 1 to outside zone 1 and continuing that momentum to the second outside zone. A very fluid line, aggressive driving, and I think this is definitely going to be up there. These last two runs from Denofa and Osbo have just been really phenomenal overall, and you can see pushing the pace right out there. Maybe could have been a little bit closer to that wall. That looked like maybe the distance that I think field was away or something in that area, so might have left a point or two on table, but as far as style is concerned, that was incredible. It's so amazing. Look, a 97, so the plot thickens. Yeah, so you know, the wall might have taken, you know, it's kind of like, man, his car took some damage, but you should see the wall, because obviously it didn't phase him too much. Look at that, 29, 29, 39, so 1 point in each of the criteria. Again, 30, 30, 40 is the ideal scenario, but Freddie with a solid 97. Currently our #1 qualifier out of our top 3 drivers. Plenty of drivers to go, so much action to see. Shanny Pants, his wife, watching at home, cheering on her man Ryan Turk from Derry, New Hampshire. The Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. He's on Nitto tires, wrapping around those rotiform wheels. Ryan Turk, like I said back in 2019, a interesting turn of events for him, kicking off the season, debuting a new, you know, not a new build, but a build for him, you know, this being round 1. Took it hard on the wall, a scary moment for him, but obviously a contender, a real contender for a championship. Would love to do it. Here we go. Ryan Turk out to that touch and go, that hot hatchback sliding in. A little bit off of that first outside zone into the second. Definitely digging deeper on the second. Let's see how he handles touch and go. I have a feeling he's gonna wrap it around nice and tight, put a bow on it. Really likes the inside clip there, Ryan, but of course could have been a little bit closer. And that's always going to stand out under the bridge. That first outside zone. Let's take a look at it again here, Ryan.
Well, Ryan Turk right here really got super deep to that second outside zone, Jared, and good fluidity back around, right into the get in the zone, outside zone number 1. Right there, scraping the bumper on that outside zone 2. Good transition, smokes us out up here, and then right through that inside clip. He got a lot closer than I've seen from the first 3 drivers, and I'm not exactly sure. We'll verify with the judges whether or not getting up right up against the wall or 6 inches off is still the maximum number of points. Maybe in outside zone 2 he pushed a little bit wide, so line might be a little bit affected there, but Turk is doing all the right things. He's getting super close to the wall. He's not leaving any open questions, and that's what you want from a driver.
Showing up, putting events in the past, but it's all about just, you know, keeping your mind right. As I said, you know, 2019, Ryan, if you can remember, I brought it up. I don't know if you heard me. I was talking about, remember when he took it hard to the wall, rode off his car, you know, comes back, fights back a car that was just a demo car. They had to modify that to be a comp car, and he wins in New Jersey, which is essentially his home, you know, would be considered his home track, closest to his home state. You know, just family and friends there, and I think that was the defining moment for him of, you know, just dealing with unfortunate circumstances, battling through, getting the team together, all hands on deck, and producing some results. I think that's just always a great testimonial to a dynamic driver.
When you take a big wreck like that, psychologically it can have a super negative impact on how you move forward, but he really true gritted himself and along 94. With his team put it together, and right now he's sitting in position number 4 with the 94.
Yeah, a 94 there for Ryan Turk, the rock star driver, putting it together. Look at that perfect angle. So, like I said, you know, 26 out of 30 on line, so definitely leaving some points on the board. Talk about another gentleman that is just always knocking on the championship's door, Odie Bakshis. Had a good time with him just last week in Grid Life at Gingerman Raceway. The Falcon Tire driver, Falcon Tire field suspension, Vortex Supercharged S15. So we got here Odie, originally from Lithuania, now living here in Southern. Comes in all the way out there, bashes the bumper, swings it back. Second outside zone. He already damaged that back left corner. Let's see how he brings it in. Kind of a sweep and then brings it in tight to that inside clip, Ryan. So absolutely bashing that back left in the touch and go, absorbing some heat, and then coming into the first outside zone of the bridge, getting the zone. Doesn't get all the way in the zone. Here we are again.
Yeah, he has been challenging not only, you know, himself as a driver, but definitely challenging the entire field. At the beginning of the season, once again came out so hot, cooled off for a little bit, but right there goes up against the wall, has to make a slight little adjustment, but Odie Bakshis tearing it up down here on the streets of Long Beach, doing an incredible job maximizing and pushing hard in the areas where there's a lot of points on the table. And so maybe that little issue that he had right here on the touch and go, it's going to be a slight deduction, but notice he handles it really well. He doesn't let the car come unstuck too much. He doesn't adjust the wheels in such a way where it'll be a major deduction. So good save there by Odie Bakshis.
Thank you to all our workers, as Ryan described earlier, that, you know, the walls, not dynamic because, you know, you're obviously going to see some calamity, see some carnage, but more it defines the limits of where the cars can go. You know, you start to get these gray areas of like, okay, can I do a dirt drop? There's no dirt here. Okay, can I knock over a cone? There's no cones here. There's only one cone, the final inside clip. Outside of that, you got walls, baby, and they are not going anywhere. So speaking of all the carnage and all the body parts, I want to thank the Cow Club all the Cal Club out here in white on the corners grabbing, you know, obviously flying some flags. If it's a yellow flag, you got some cautions. We'll see more of those tomorrow, obviously. And again, all the folks, the corner workers in white. And here we go with an 89. An 89 there for Odie Bakshis, an 89 for Odie. So still a very respectable score. I want to thank Marwin for all of our gear, Marwin for providing all of the Formula Drift gear. Thank you to Brian Rock and Marwin. Thanks so much. Cheers, brother. As we are warming up the tires of Vaughn Gittin Jr., our defending champion. And Ryan, you're talking about the points earlier. Vaughn Gittin Jr. back there with 394. I mean, darn near impossible to grab a championship. I mean, Matt Field with 485. I mean, our top, essentially our top 5 drivers would need to just absolutely, you know, DNF this event in order for him to jump up there. Shout out to Finch. What's up, Finch? Watching over in Spain. Thanks for watching. Always a fan. As Vaughn Gittin Jr., the other RTR Mustang, starts through the chicane. Here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Mustang RTR. Touch and go. Let's see what kind of go he's got. He definitely touched it. Into the zone. Transitioning. Massive angle here, Ryan. Coming out with guns ablaze and really tightens that inside clip. Oh man, you gotta love it. Vaughn Gittin Jr. just the echoing through the streets of Long Beach. People coming out in their balcony. Come on out, people.
Yeah, he's been really fun to watch in his championship year. Before his follow-up championship year, had some really crazy moments, and you know, lots of moments that people talked about for many, many weeks after the event. And here in Long Beach, he loves his course, starts off strong, does a great job on that touch and go, taps the wall, super close to outside zone 2. Good transition here. Doesn't quite get out to that touch and go, and so you can see the line that he drew to that inside clip kind of pushed him out a little bit wider than maybe he wanted to. A little bit more of a weaker arc there, but as we take a look at the drone, Jared, you'll see he gets that nice early initiation. He's right back on throttle through that first turn, pushes out wide to the touch and go. You can see those red lines painted on the wall, and then as he comes through the bridge, kind of eyes up this second outside zone and gets right there next to the wall. Just maybe that last little section of the touch and go could have been a little bit better there, but overall, strong performance for Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Yeah, that gray area of that second touch and go area coming, and that's really going to come into play. I mean, obviously here in qualifying, but really going to come into play, and it has over the years with head-to-head competition, because when they transition off that second outside zone, some drivers tend to flick it a little earlier and really try to hang it out there, and some just are right in the middle, and some are a little bit later, cutting that apex. So it's a take note. Here we go with a 90. That's a 9-0 for Vaughn Gittin Jr., the defending champion, piloting his Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5. It's got the Type S lights running. Can't see them right now. It's obviously daytime. Type S, our presenting sponsor. They will definitely be on at Irwindale, the House of Drift. Tickets are on sale right now, right? Tickets are on sale. Ready to go?
Oh yeah, it's not too far away.
No, jeez, I can't believe it. Freddie leading the pack. Stinking end. We don't know the stinking end. Dylan Hughes from Snoqualmie, Washington, came up here in the announcer's booth, says, yo, this track is slick. He is, and keep in mind, Dylan Hughes just shy of 200 miles per hour on a motorcycle at Bonneville Salt Flats.
You should have seen it Tuesday before we put pavement down on it. Yeah.
Sketch dog? Oh, really? Throw rubber down? Here we go. The Royal Purple, O'Reilly Auto Parts, GT Radial, BMW, transitioning now under the bridge. Nice job. Gets in that second outside zone. There's that touch and go. Let's see how it manages going. You can see from going from that black top to the gray. Ryan, what kind of role has that played? I know, you know, in years past, and again, I only say this, I'm not even going to announcers curse it. In years past, weather-wise, when it gets wet, going from the black asphalt to the concrete or cement to concrete, how's that changed? And will we see anything change here this weekend?
I think the guys are very used to this course, especially the veterans that have been here for a long time. But you bring up a good point. This is one of the most challenging tracks to drive on when there is weather. Now, thankfully, we're not going to have any of that, but it is just so
I said previous. You never know. Look at clouds are rolling in all of a sudden.
As we take a look at Dylan Hughes, a guy that has spent not as much time on this course as maybe some of the guys that have been around for a long time. He's navigating through it pretty well. He takes a pretty good line here on this last inside clip. I like the arc that he drew there. That's kind of what the judges want to see. They want to see that back bumper and that touch and go, nice wide arc, and then finish strong, power through the finish line, and really mash it, the throttle all the way through, committing yourself to that last inside clip. So good run for him. He's now on the scales, and we'll find out what the judges thought of Dylan Hughes' run.
And speaking of Dylan Hughes, look at this gentleman. He gets his first ever Formula Drift podium in Washington. He's from Snoqualmie. He gets in Seattle, and he backs it up with a third place in St. Louis as well. And now throws down a 92, a track he's only driven twice. Once at the Long Beach Grand Prix, the Motegi Drift Challenge, and once with his previous car. So, he's pumped, man. He's feeling it.
He has definitely turned over a new leaf, so to speak, in terms of not just being a great driver, but an actual contender.
There you go.
And
I like it.
It's been really awesome to watch. The 2 third places are huge accomplishments, and I know that he just wants to keep digging and do more.
Yeah, I mean, top 7. Now we're gonna do top 8 driver, Kazuya Taguchi. Man, Taguchi's got quite a spread over there in his booth. I'll tell you what, he was just out at final bout with his S13, some sick cars, couple FDs, S13, the 86. Basically, which one would you choose is the question. Well, Kazuya's choosing this one, the VR powered 86, the up garage vehicle that is definitely a hot boy, the ISR. Doesn't get all the way out of the touch and go, but wants to focus more on getting in the zone, and he does. Out of that second outside zone, woo, flirting it. Oh boy. Just really went too hard. Oh boy, might have broken axle, something. So Ryan, what got interesting there is, didn't get all the way out to the touch and go, tried to focus on that first outside zone. Walk us through it.
Yeah, it's the first major mistake we've seen through the succession of drivers so far, and it's from the sounds of it, it's a mechanical problem that becomes the issue here for Taguchi, who has had a really strong competitive season. I believe he is going to get an incomplete for this because he kind of over-rotated the vehicle and had to pretty much pull it out at drift. So it did sound like it was a mechanical problem, definitely not a driver's error there. And we'll see what the judges think, but I do believe that that's the way it's going to go. And yes, we are getting the confirmation it will be an incomplete.
So watch this, just over rotates, straightens out. I mean, that's trying to salvage something there, but around this last, trying to see what exactly happened there. So an incomplete is a score of 0. He incompleted the run, basically a DNF. The judges say, the different criteria, basically, you go straight, you stop drifting. What are some of the other criteria? And we talk about all the time. And
yeah, I mean the term. There's a whole laundry list of what is a incomplete or what is an incomplete in the rule book. But one of the things that we've really focused on is if you think about a qualifying run and then pretend that there's a ghost chase driver behind that driver. So anything that is basically an unchaseable lead run. Thinking about a chase driver being in close proximity, and could that chase driver adapt to the mistakes that were made in this case?
Here we go, Chris Forsberg, the 3-time champ, early 9 points, comes in a view of the judges. Doesn't get all the way to the outside zone. Not with characteristic Chris Forsberg. Is Chris Forsberg taking a different strategy here? Very tight around that final inside clip. And I'll tell you, Chris is one of the best in the biz around that final front clip, just of all the years back in 2005 to now. Look out for him on that final clip, but this does not look like signature Forsberg.
Yeah, no, he doesn't carry enough momentum to get out to the touch and go. Leaves quite a bit of points on the line section there on the table. He is able to kind of get back and stay relatively close to outside zone 2, starting to smoke it up here as he gets to the touch and go on this final inside clip, and there he performs pretty well. But you got to wonder what happened there, if it's just a little bit of mistiming or miscalibration. But you can see kind of slows up a little bit after he initiates, and that may have been enough to not allow him to kind of carry the momentum out to that touch and go. Because it seems like after that section of the run, he was kind of back on it here, but obviously there will be some deductions for that in the overall score for the 3-time champion.
Shout out to Happy Ed right now. He's looking like he's happy right now. Also, it's always fun to see the drivers. We have quite a large stage up here, and they tend to join us up here, kind of look at their competitors. You know, you get the spotters up here, they're giving insight, but it's always great for the drivers to see it there themselves. Waiting for Chris Forsberg's score, and Ryan, you talked about it earlier, jumping on the scales there, looking at weight of the vehicle with driver. The weight dictates the width of the tire that they can run. Here we go, the men's journal knockout qualifying score for Chris Forsberg, 85. So 85 for Forsberg. We'll see what stands. What are you looking at?
And you see there's the big deduction there on line relative to angle and style. So obviously that first sector where line is judged, he got most of his points taken off there.
Yeah, a 34 in style, that's pretty big too. 6 points there. But yeah, line, definitely a large deduction. Talk about another, dynamic driver that has stepped up tremendously is Travis Reeder, another boy from the PNW from Vancouver, Washington. The Link ECU BMW. Here we go. Travis Reeder. Wow, look at that, all the way out. Barely, flicks it into the zone, but doesn't get all the way out there. That could have been nasty there as Reeder brings around really tight to the inside clip. Travis Reeder, full pull. I was expecting major, I thought it was going to be gangster under the bridge. Unfortunately, just came up just a bit short.
I love the aggression here. I don't think that the judges are going to be super happy about that initiation, though. We're catching it coming in here, but he did a 3-move initiation. The judges really like to only see a 2-move initiation. 3-move for them is just 1 too many moves. Now that may, I think, have an effect on style, but it shouldn't have an effect on line or angle. There's one. Oh, that was the end of it, but if you caught it in the live portion, there was a 3-move kind of initiation, but right up against that touch and go. I mean, beautiful job there. A little bit off that outside zone. Better here on outside zone 2, and you see the line that he's picking is allowing him to flow very nicely to the touch and go. And the line that he draws around this inside clip is superb, so great run overall. A couple little things here and there, but it's going to be enough to get him into the top 32, enough to get him in the bracket, and now he can go relax for the rest of the afternoon.
That's the ideal move. Just, get one in the books, and these guys got, I mean, how many runs we allow them? How many runs, Ryan? And because we had quite a few practice sessions today, but one day, pretty consistent. It's not. We're not going tonight. Doesn't get cold, but they're allowed how many runs?
We gave actually the drivers more practice time than we anticipated to give them in the schedule, because we were seeing a lot of cars being towed off. There was quite a few wrecks. It was really slowing it down, and the actual lap count was not as high as we would like it to be. So we had a break that was scheduled around like 2 o'clock, and we just basically got rid of that break. Here's the 88 here for Travis Reeder, just to allow these guys to get a little bit more time. Obviously, you mentioned it. Very scary course going into the last event of the year, so want to make sure the cars, they already have a lot of attrition kind of built into them, or that it's starting to build. That is starting to build up as we get to Irwindale, when I think a lot of people just say that, throw it away.
Yeah.
We're going to go crazy. But, you want them to come out of this event in one piece.
And talk about a driver that has just seen many different scenarios, but still fights back. Dean Carnage Carney still sits on 11th after so many just interesting things have happened in this season, but always fighting back here. The Oracle Lighting. Oh, boy, the Dodge Viper. Oh, goodness. Ryan, that got very hairy, very, very hairy for us. As Frederick Osbo, our current #1 qualifier, joins us in the stands. Good job, Freddie. Currently 97, leads the pack. And so now, Ryan, we're starting to see some incompletes, AKA zeros. And I'm seeing some Oracle Lighting t-shirts and Carnage t-shirts run over to the pits, meaning their crew gonna have to thrash and see what went on and what could have been really bad.
Yeah, no, and I thought about Darren McNamara right here at this section of the course.
Another
because
Irish driver.
Where we saw our, one of the biggest crashes that we've had in the series history. Great save by Dean, but you're right, it will force him into the bottom 8, so he's going to have to do a second one here. It will be an incomplete on that run, and he'll go back and try to adjust here for run number 2 as we're kind of quickly making our way now, just getting into what?
You said we're quickly going through, and then now.
So rain and rain and too fast. I'm just doing too much.
I guess you're just doubling down. You know, just really just going for it.
Dang it.
Hey, by the way, amazing snack bag that you brought today.
Right.
Like you bought the whole rack of beef jerky at the local natural grocer.
Yeah, I feel some diversity is.
But I'll tell you what, I did sneak one of those Maui Wowie cookies. Those are pretty slamming, dog.
The macadamia nuts.
Yeah. They're Maui Wowie. Oh, my bad. All right, Michael Essa here, FCP Euro Liquid Moly BMW. He's on East tires. Oh man, look at that! Kisses in that back fender, goes wall to wall. Gets in the zone. How's he handle that second outside zone? Look how quickly Michael expedites this track. One of the quickest from left to right. Just talking about our way of reading that book there. And the book is The Streets of Long Beach. Gets through it really quick. Ryan, I really liked how he went from wall to wall, ping-ponging from the touch and go to outside zone 1.
Yeah, and the approach, you just get the feel from the way the vehicle looks on course that he's not afraid to kind of push it right up to the edge. You can see the back bumper scraping up in the touch and go and outside zone 1. Full throttle commitment to outside zone 2, drawing a beautiful arc here to the touch and go. That transition gets himself right in the perfect position for that final inside clip. This is one of the better runs I think that I've seen so far out of the 12 guys that have gone, and I think this is certainly going to be up there for Michael Essa as he now goes to the weight scales as well and we'll find out what his score here is in qualifying.
Michael's built a beautiful demo vehicle. Got to see it just last weekend, a four-door BMW. A little bit longer chassis. We were talking about the setup, just having some fun and firing off with that anti-lag. A little bit of more of a party car than a comp car, but still very cool. And here we go, 96. So there you go, Ryan. So look at this. So just look at that. 2 points in the line category, 1 in angle, 1 in style.
Yeah, and I think same style score as Osmo, so that says quite a bit.
Yeah. So just a few points missing as far as respective to line. We're splitting hairs, and this is what I really enjoy about just drivers that are familiar with the track. And you said at the top of the show, just unforgiving. There's no gray area. There's a wall. There's your bumper. Sometimes they meet, sometimes they don't. Here we go, Jeff Jones, another Southern California driver. Jeff Jones always having a good time. Here we go, and that supercharger getting wound up. GT radial tires go round, gets out that wall, drags bumper. Comes up just a bit short, but now coming in. Oh, buddy, gets in early, Ryan. Now comes off that touch and go in that last outside zone. Not fully at angle going around that inside clip, Ryan. You kind of see him drive it like rolling into that angle around that final inside clip. Yeah. Ryan, real quick, got an update here from Dean Carnage Carney. Kick the power steering belt.
Okay. Well, as we get back here to Jeff Jones, you can see right there a little bit less angle than he probably would have liked into outside zone 1. Hits outside zone 2 probably because he wasn't fully committed to the angle in outside zone 1, was probably driving with a little bit too much momentum into that outside zone 2. Now, yeah, it's a great save by him, and Jeff Jones always keeps us on the edge of our seats here. But right there you can see he had a little bit less angle, and as he gets on the throttle, he's pushing a little bit too hard. Great save. Doesn't make a massive adjustment in the overall feel of the vehicle and the way that it looked on course. So I think the judges will deduct him a little bit there, and also for that last inside clip where he went just a little bit wide. Could have had a tighter arc there, but Jeff Jones will be in the top 32, and now it's just about where the positioning lines up.
Well, again, Ryan, I believe we have 33 vehicles coming into this round of competition. One driver, which is low in the order, is having an interesting scenario, and we'll get to that driver if he shows up. If he makes it, it's fantastic. It just adds to the dynamicness of the stories that unfold in the Formula Drift world, or unfortunately he's going to be watching from the outside. So All right, Jeff Jones with an 86, an 86 for Jeff Jones. And Jones right now currently sitting 10th. We'll see if that holds. And here is Yves Meyer. Yves Meyer in the Drift Force Eurofighter. And here comes Yves out of the gate. Hits the cone, but it's not head-to-head battle, so it doesn't matter. Comes out. Whoa, man, really digs deep. Knocks out that tail light. Now through that second outside zone. He didn't get all the way in the zone. Definitely got out to that touch and go. Ryan, if we need to see some onboard footage, you know what I mean? Because it's just so scary. When they initiate, they're looking at that wall. They're just surrounded by walls.
Yeah, I was talking to Osbo on Tuesday, and we asked him, you know, do you think it's easier for the right-hand drive guys on this course because those two outside zones are on the right-hand side? And he said he didn't know. He didn't think so. He thinks once you kind of get it dialed in. But you can see for drivers that have not been on this course before, as we're seeing here with Yves, you really got to be super careful because it can be an event ender if you push a little bit too hard. You know, the standard K-rail that we have at some of the events, it's temporary, can move. These do not move. So it can really damage the vehicle. Obviously, we're going to see a lower score here. He did make some mistakes, got a little bit out of whack. I'm glad that he kind of stayed in it and fought through it, but certainly will receive some reductions across the board.
Yeah, Yves Meyer just coming in really hot, you know, out and into that touch and go, which, you know, putting a lot of stress. Wait for Yves Meyer's score here. Yves Meyer currently sitting 14th in points. Yves coming to us from Schwyz, Switzerland. And here it comes. And Yves Meyer with a 72, so that wall throwing him off. So when we come back, we will see the continuation of our men's journal knockout qualifying, the Streets of Long Beach AutoZone, presented by Type S.
With performance this raw, you need air that's pure. We started with a firm belief that innovation could improve performance. With the success of 50 years and millions of filters behind us, we continue to look ahead. Guaranteed to protect against dirt and proven to provide up to 50% more airflow. This is filtration for the future.
No. Seriously?
Come on.
No.
You for real?
Dale.
Really?
Wow.
So maybe just a cable?
We can help you.
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination, AutoZone, your battery solution.
we are back. Again, a short commercial break there. Look at the views here on the streets of Long Beach, or better yet, the waterfront of the Long Beach. AutoZone, Streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S. We have branded Getting in the Zone. We're talking about our 2 outside zones. And, of course, we have the touch and goes and the final front clip. But, Ryan, we have the making of a beautiful event and weekend round 7 of 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. And then we'll all reconvene at the House of Drift Irwindale Speedway for round 8 and round 4 of the Pro Spec Championship.
Taking a look at some of those qualifying numbers. Surprised? I mean, I'm not too surprised. Osbo has always been known to be a great qualifier. He sits #1 right now, but Field and Denofa pushing the pace, and we know that 3rd place is going to be predicated upon the highest qualifier once we get to the Final 4. So getting on that podium is an important thing, and we're going to continue to make our way through. One of the things that we saw in qualifying in St. Louis is we saw some outliers towards the latter part of qualifying. Alec Robbins,
oh yeah, #1 qualifier
in pro, just went absolutely gangster.
Yeah, he went ham.
Yeah.
He went full Minnesota.
So that was amazing. I hope that we see something like that here. That's been one of the things I thought was really fun to watch about that St. Louis event, is some of the surprises that came out.
Yeah, I love that as well. And you know, let's I'll get back to Osmo. I got a point about that. Justin Pollock, JTP in the Falcon tires, Ford Mustang, round performance. Oh, Justin, wall to wall. He gets in the zone. Really well executed there. Oh, dragging bumper. Could Justin Pollock take that #1 spot from Frederick Osbo? Nice job there by JTP, Justin Pollock. Ryan, what I was going to say about Frederick Osbo, you said always a high qualifier, 97 currently. Sometimes just getting it out of the way, aka slamming to the wall, knocking some paint, knocking some headlights off, that makes you drive a little bit different. But what are your thoughts about JTP?
Well, I mean, Justin does what Justin does, and that is 100% every time, doesn't matter. And he always has that knack for doing something that just seems like it shouldn't be possible, but then he's able to pull it off. And sometimes he doesn't, let's be honest, right? But this time, incredible angle coming out of the initiation to the touch and go. Uses the angle to slow down the vehicle in the right places, but stays on throttle through outside zone 2 where he rubs the bumper. Beautiful transition here. Let's take a look at this last inside clip. So that's the only part, I think, where there's a noticeable point of difference between how he did it and how some of the other top qualifiers have done it. But I mean, hello, can you get any closer than that?
Yeah.
Great job by JTP, impressive driving, and expect this to be a pretty high score overall.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Justin, always a dynamic driver. There's no reason for kind of his big nasty flick here. I think it's really going to cause you to spin out. He's known for that, but where's he land? Here we go. JTP score 97, and so 39. He had the same style score. It defaults to after style
angle.
So
he got a perfect angle score. So yeah, that's the
yeah.
tiebreaker there. He did what he needed to do. He matched Osbo in style and got that tiebreaker on angle. So congratulations to him, your new #1 qualifier. Tremendous job.
Love it. You know, he kissed that wall on that second outside zone, got into the zone, and this is the driver you're talking about, Ryan. Just stepped up in a major way. Like I said, he went full soda on us in that Facetto Nissan Z. This is Alec Robbins. Here we go. Alec Robbins got the #1 spot in St. Louis, and he says he's feeling comfortable. First time here, so here we go, coming in. Comes up short on that touch and go. Oh, goes into the wall. He taps that wall, but he stays in it. Oh, that back right wheel. Ryan, that back right suspension's absolutely loose, but he still holds on to it. Wow, amazingly. Ryan, that back right, broken arm, you saw it. You know, he almost folded under. That could have been a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not sure that he's going to want to hang on to this run, but he may have no choice because he still might get a high enough score.
Yeah.
He misses the touch and go here. Now watch the right rear. He touches the wall. Right here, you're going to see it go wonky a couple times. So it's barely hanging on there. And it's incredible that he even finished this run. I mean, just somehow or another held it together, was still drifting through the finish line. This is where the damage most likely took place.
Click, click.
Taps the wall right there. I mean, again, that's just you know, an outgrowth of the wall not moving and having parts on your car that are weaker than that wall at speed. So Alec Robbins really hanging in there and doing a great job saving the vehicle and saving the run. I think he's going to get a score. I don't think this is going to be incompleted. So
yeah, that's not like that's an unchaseable run. That's just him being aggressive and saving grace. That could have grabbed his back end like we saw earlier with Osbo. If he was just a little bit deeper, that could have whipped him right back and hit that front end on the, you know. So that's how the cookie crumbles, or how the wheel hits the wall. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't, you know. Sometimes that wall is gonna say, "Come here, get over here, finish him." All right, Mortal Kombat, deep cut. Again, for all you old school Formula Drift Long Beach fans, thanks for joining us out here. Bill Baldwin, who's normally under the bridge down there, he's up here in the tower with us. Spirit's a little wider, but his overalls are always white. And his thank you for Cal Club again for joining us and working the corners for us here and keeping it safe. 74 for Alec Robbins, so not the prettiest, but still a score nonetheless. So sitting 13th after, I mean, keep in mind, we've had 2 incompletes, Kazuya Taguchi, Dean Carney, and again, I said it briefly there while we saw the run of Jeff Jones, but Dean Carney says the power steering belt just rolled right off. So unfortunate for him. Another driver who got into a tussle with the wall, and the wall is not forgiving, Brandon Sorensen, the young buck from Las Vegas, the 2-on-2 performance, BMW. Flies into the touch and go. He got in trouble there earlier today in practice, but not right now. Comes up a bit short on both of those outside zones. Brandon Sorensen maybe a little bit gun shy here at the streets of Long Beach. We saw Brandon Sorensen rise to the occasion a few rounds this year. A good qualifier, but Ryan way off of those outside zones.
yeah, he's definitely established himself as a mainstay in the series here, but as you said, went into the wall early in practice. Might be still trying to feel it out here. He misses a lot on outside zone 2, but one as well was probably outside the marker for full points. Let's take a look at the initiation. It was a big, long e-brake pull. Then he starts getting on the throttle. Touch and go area, I like the way that he set that up, but he just wasn't able to fully maximize the points. And you can see the adjustment in angle. It's kind of from medium angle to high angle. Once he left outside zone 1, trying to make his way to outside zone 2, trying to stay on something like a consistent line that will allow him to wrap around that inside clip. So I think he will see some deductions here. It will be enough to get him in the game. I don't think we'll see him in the bottom 8. So far this year, as we've talked about, the cutoff, if there is a cutoff where we have 33 or more drivers, it's been right around 75, 76, pretty consistently. So I can't imagine that changing, but who knows?
We need you at a C or a C+ in order to lock in one of those top 24 spots. If we have 32 cars, we're taking the top 24 and re-racking those bottom 8 if we have 32 cars. If we have 33 cars, we'll take the 25. Those are locked and loaded, and then we'll take the bottom 8 there. So that's where it's at. If we got 32, we'll take 24. If we have 33 cars, we'll take 25. Brandon Sorensen waits for his score. Ryan, you got dinner plans tonight, bud? Should we go out to dinner? Maybe grab James Lau? Or are you going home?
No, I'm staying down here in downtown. We didn't talk about dinner. We might even be having dinner here. I'm not sure.
Just trying to invite you to dinner, and that was definitely a denial. But it was accepted. Brandon Sorensen gets an 84. You didn't swipe right on me, Ryan. I get it. It's all good. It's all good, dog. It's all good. Dan Burkett. We'll see. You're crunching on some Maui Wowies right now. Dan Burkett here in his Rad Industries Gear Wrench Toyota Supra. Always a great looking car and a great looking haircut. As Rad Dan, some GT radials wrapped around some racing steering wheels. Swinging on in. Out to that touch and go. Yes, sir. Gets thrown way off. Unfortunately. Whoa, this is where I get nervous. Okay.
That could have gone south really quick, Ryan. Not just talking about the car, but the overall car. So you can see how that really affects you. Goes into that outside touch and go, and then it just bounces back, comes up short, does not get all the way in the zone, literally and figuratively, the auto zone. Let's take a look.
Yeah, that is the danger there of miscalculating any one of these walls, but especially the touch and go, because it's the first one that you're really exposed to. You can see he touches there. He comes out of kind of the approach that he was taking, the line that he was drawing was not what he intended it to be, and it has an impact all the way down the line to that final inside clip. Watch this here. You can see the angle he's got on the car. It unwinds the angle and doesn't allow him to push out to that outside zone 1. He has to make an adjustment. You can almost see a decel that happened there right before outside zone 2. And then he gets back on the throttle, pushes to outside zone 2, so he's going to pick up some good line points there. Now watch the approach as he gets to the touch and go. Comes up a little bit too tight, should have pushed a little bit wider, and he came up on the inside of that inside clip. So we'll see what the judges think about some of the mistakes that were made here. I think it will be enough to keep him out of the bottom 8, but definitely a pretty sizable mistake that had an impact on a large portion of the course from that touch and go.
Lowest score right now, obviously outside of the incompletes, is 72 from Yves Meyer. And now Dan, an 81. So still a very respectable score there for Dan Burkett with sitting in 14th, but we are more than halfway through our driver's field. Just the vibe overall, Ryan, just coming in here. I woke up at 5:15 this morning. I had to take my kid to school this morning. But for whatever reason, driving here, I live here now, but just an overall vibe. Speaking of vibe, just was informed by Simon Olsen here from Norway, no clutch. He's basically got to roll into it. It's not disengaging, so he's basically just locking it in and sending it. So great looking vehicle here. And everybody cross your fingers here for Simon Olsen, the 2J powered brand new Toyota Supra. Talking about Freddie and his Rockstar energy drink Toyota Supra. He runs the original engine in it, but the 2J powered is Simon Olsen. Always fun to watch him go. Olsen keeps it engaged, big angle there, flicks it back around. That 300 design kit on the corners. You're seeing that beautiful livery here. And now around that final clip, hey, not too shabby for not having a clutch. He will live to see another day. Wow. So Simon Olsen, Ryan, like I said, just engage the clutch and go.
Yeah, he's really had some bright moments this season here, and even though he leaves a little bit left to be desired on that touch and go, you can see how aggressively he's driving through the course. So the big thing that we're noticing here is he's not really going from wall to wall. And that is just by the nature of that, you're going to leave line points, but you're also going to leave style points on the table, because so much of the commitment part of style has to do with pushing out to those walls. So we will see some deductions both in line and in style. And I think also just because of the tighter line coming through the first section, he wasn't really able to kind of max out the angle, getting out to that wall, angling up, using your angle to slow down the car, then transitioning smoothly. So it's still going to be a score for him, but there will be some overall point deductions.
He wanted to survive that. Again, his spotter telling me, like, hey, we have no clutch. We have to roll into it, just engage it. He just wanted to live to see another day, get a decent enough score where he doesn't have to be in the bottom 8. They're going to work on the car.
So so whatever his score is, add 15, and then that's what it would have been with a fully functioning car.
I mean, that's good math. That's a solid math.
No clutch is a 15-point deficit. There
95. Sorry, I got a little excited there. An 80. My goodness, Ryan. I mean, just like you've been watching this for 18 years or something. It's impeccable. It's really impeccable. An 80 for Simon Olsen. We saw his current standings there. Moving on to our next driver, Adam LZ, always blowing up the internet in more ways than one. He's got a lot of fans in the building, a lot of them online. Just, Formula Drift Rookie of the Year. Made the jump from Pro 2 to Pro last year with our doubleheader year, and comes back with a beautiful looking vehicle. Always love the S15s and love the livery. Here we go, boys. Adam LZ.
little short on that touch and go. Transitions now out to the, almost blends in, getting into the zone. Like to see him a little bit closer to those outside zones, Ryan. Could be a little bit deeper, just on all of them. Just tighten up those tolerances. You know, just knock that belt down to one more hole. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like you said, you know, risk it or biscuit type course, right? If you don't go out to the touch and go, you don't get out to outside zone 1 and 2, or at least approaching it to kind of get the points that are going to get you, say, an 85 or higher, then you're going to get those deductions. There's just no way getting around it. This course is designed for you to push out as wide as you possibly can to that part of the course, and then come back across with aggression to that part of the course, and then out to the wall on that part of the course. So he left a few points on the table on touch and go 1 and outside zone 1. I like the approach here towards the end. He went a little bit wide on that inside clip, so we're still seeing some drivers kind of struggle with getting that appropriate arc through the final section there. But I'm guessing it's going to be, you know, in the 80s.
I think that's a decent guesstimation there for Adam LZ, getting his numbers right, making sure he's at COVID weight. Speaking of COVID, we talked about, you know, there's BC, there's AD, and are we like PC now, like post-COVID? Like is that kind of where we're at? And 83, look at you, look at that. His facial, I always love the LZ mustache. But I was thinking about your facial hair too, Ryan. That's like a post-COVID kit. Yeah. I like it. It started for a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
And it stuck around.
It was my cowboy costume.
It was your Yellowstone, and it stuck around. Rip. And somebody just commented that my buddy JC Maldonado says, quote, Ryan looking like a Pirates of Caribbean extra.
I'm cool with that. I
Okay.
like that. It means I'm hardy.
Okay. Yeah, you are. Speaking of hardy, another gentleman that is hardy, Daijiro Yoshihara. And here we go, Dai Yoshihara coming in that turn 14 distribution. Super BRZ tapping the wall, comes back, woo! Does not get affected. Dai Yoshihara going for it. All right, touch and go, flicks it around. Love the execution there. One of my favorite liveries of the year. I would not put blue and pink together in these tones. I mean, it is Subaru BRZ, so it kind of has that Subaru vibes. Let's take a look. Here we go.
Yeah, and Dai has had some moments where he looks like that 2011 champion.
Yep.
And it's moments like that where you know he is not afraid. Nope. He can drive and put the car anywhere he wants to. He's a seasoned veteran, and you get these amazing runs. A great transition back around, nice and snappy. In my mind, very few points left on the table. The precision out here where he makes an adjustment in the angle to kind of slow the car down and just get it up to the wall, tapping the wall without completely collapsing the back bumper is always super impressive to me. It's almost more impressive when they just kind of nick the wall than using the wall as a backstop. You know, that to me I think is shows a little bit more car control. So I think this is going to be a pretty high scored run. I don't know if it's going to be your #1 qualifier, but it's certainly going to break into the 90s. A great job by Dai.
And 95. 95 claims.
But look at the style score.
39.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You were talking about the bumper, grazing it as opposed to bashing it and kind of stopping it. Reason being I like that too is you take a look at the back bumper of the Ford Mustangs. Chelsea Nova has one of the biggest bumper budgets. Talk about Alec Honadale, you know, but you look at Ryan Turk, who formerly Frederick Oswald's car, that bumper's about yay thin. I mean, that hatchback has no back bumper. So from the wall to the back tire, that has major repercussions. You know, we saw Dai Yoshihara kiss it, but you'll see some dudes go bash bar deep, they'll knock it off. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it can be, you think about a guy, you know, a driver chasing you as well. And they go super deep into the wall like that, it can get a little bit hairy.
Jonathan Castro representing the DR. Trudeau, Methyldon, Nexon Tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. There we go, talk wall to wall. Woo! Look at that, skinning it. Skinning it like a banana. Going bananas here in Long Beach. Castro, love that approach there, that nasty flick. Castro's out for blood. Holy cow. Doing it for DR.
I saw him in the hotel lobby this morning when I was walking out. He just gave me a little nod and a wink.
Okay.
You know, and I was like, oh, he's feeling good today. And sure enough, this is the kind of driving that I really, really appreciate, because it's so close to being an incomplete by going into the wall and having your day be over. Now, he does make a little bit of a mistake on outside zone 2, but the touch and go on that first outside zone was just so dynamic.
Is that too deep for you? We're just talking about going deep.
This
Maybe
is
a little
on,
too deep?
This is on that one's not. And this one right here is, to me, is not using the wall as a backstop. It's just maybe pushing over the line a little bit too much, but he handles it super well. The attitude of the car doesn't adjust in a crazy way. So I just think that, you know, it's fun driving to watch. You know, it's not going to be the #1 qualifier, but it's probably going to be a run that scored well, minus outside zone 2, where maybe there's a couple points left on the table there.
Hey, I want to. Lantain has his headset next to him. I want to ask him, because that line that Castro had seemed a little more dynamic. It seemed a little different as the score comes in here. But I want to ask Lantain, 91. So look at line 26. Okay, so he obviously missed the outside zone 2. Lantain, going to you. Obviously deep in outside zone 1, outside zone 2, but I want to focus on the last and final inside clip. That line where he kind of late apexed and then brought it in. Is that ideal, or would you like them to transition earlier than that?
I felt like he went long on touch and go 2, and it looked like he was going out towards the tires. Not in a dangerous way, but his line was a little bit too deep there. I'd like to see him coming across the front of inside clip 1 a little more flat, as opposed to a late apex as he did.
As we're looking at it here again, is that too deep in outside zone 1?
I took 1 point off there for that. It was a little bit too aggressive. You didn't see a change in the angle of the car, but you could see that he was using the that wall as kind of a, you know, like when you're bowling and you've got those protectors in the gullies.
The bumpers.
Yeah, it bumps the ball back in, and that's kind of what that felt like. It looked like he bounced off the wall as opposed to just grazing it. So we do tell the drivers get close, but don't use it as a stopper.
And outside zone 2, way off there. But again, the outside zone, or excuse me, the inside clip 1, you'd like them transition earlier. And I love, thank you for the replay there, walking us through that. That was great. So thank you, Ryan Lantain.
My pleasure.
All right, here we go. Moving on to Taylor Hull, full pull Hull. Of course, the Comp Cams Cadillac ATS-V. Coming to some Georgians. Things bounce around, looking a little bit loose on the Yellow Speed Racing. Let's see how he handles it. Coming into view. Bounces. Woo! Like at that. He just grazes it like cattle. Now coming into the second. Nice job there by Taylor Hull. So that was a little earlier. Ryan, the car seems a little looser setup. And Taylor Hull just, I know he went over and saw our homie Matt Farrer over the Smoking Tire podcast yesterday, talking cars. But what do you make of the run, Ryan?
I mean, this run right here, I think, shows you kind of the depth and overall scope of the skill level within the series right now. Is that Taylor Hull is going to get a pretty well-scored run here, and it's just because he checked all the boxes. He was pretty aggressive. We're still seeing a lot of drivers have trouble with that last inside clip, and it really has to do with the setup. The car is bouncing around, but look at that. Just grazing the wall on the touch and go. Maybe about 8 inches or 10 inches off that outside zone, but close to be able to get enough points where you're not going to see a massive deduction there. Smooth transition to that final touch and go. And then as he wraps around there, you can see he pushes out just a little bit wide. Let's take a look here from outside zone 2. You know, what is that, about maybe a foot off of the overall wall? So his approach here is good. He's taking an appropriate risk. He's not putting it into the wall, but he had that nice grazing effect on the touch and go. So I think the judges will reward Taylor Hull.
Full pull Hull. You see the 82 of Taylor Hull. Comp Cams, Next Tires, Yellow Speed Racing, Cadillac ATS-V. Love how he stepped up. His wife is spotter. And here we go. What score does full pull Hull receive? A 90. A solid 90. His wife definitely always elated when he gets a high score. She gets pumped. I like it. So a nice score there for Mr. Hull. And again, currently 23rd. It gives you an idea of where we are. You know, again, on the roster, 33 vehicles. When we start getting down to the bottom, we'll find out if one of the drivers is in the building and kind of building that anticipation. Jonathan Hurst here, the Cash Racing G37 on Nexen tires. Jonathan Hurst I always love saying where he's from. He's from Paducah, Kentucky.
It's fun.
Paducah's a great word.
Yeah.
It's just he's like, hey man, I like it. I got to meet Jonathan Hurst years ago at LS Fest, and always loved it. Jonathan Hurst, yes, using all the course. Let's see, keeps it clean. Nice little stutter step in the middle of that transition. This LS powered G37 now brings it on home. Little glitchy, kind of, you know, in that transition, but as you described with Taylor Holt, ticks the boxes, but fluidity maybe needs a little polishing.
His car is one of those ones where it doesn't matter where I'm at. I always know that it's him because it sounds like the 4th of July. I just love it, and he's such an exciting driver and really fun to watch. Doing a lot of the right things here. Could have been a little bit deeper in outside zone 2. Let's take a look as he leaves outside zone 1. You can see right there that arc is pushed a little bit deeper there, but overall, like you said, just like Taylor Holt, he's not going through the paces. He's pushing appropriately to get himself, a high score. But you can see the areas where he could have done a little bit better. I mean, that touch and go right there, pretty well done. Slight little bump, but he's able to get over to that outside zone and fill it pretty completely. So I think that once again, just like Taylor, he's going to be rewarded here, and we'll see where that lines him up in the top 32.
You know what's interesting, though? We're talking about the kind of glitch from the outside, the touch and go into the first outside zone. That glitch is him adapting the car to get closer to that wall.
Yeah.
So that's a riskier ask than just being like, all right, whip it, set it, and forget it. That's confidence when you do that, but him saying like, go deeper, and kind of checks it up. But an 86 for Jonathan Hurst from Paducah, Kentucky. Of course he sounds like, 4th of July and fireworks. He's from Paducah, Kentucky, man. He's firing off on all cylinders, man. That's what Jonathan Hurst does. Jonathan Cash Racing. So Paducah, Kentucky's own, currently sitting in 14th. We'll take a short commercial break. Seriously, don't go anywhere. This is going to be short. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll see the continuation of our Men's Journal Knockout qualifying here at the AutoZone Streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S.
Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignited. Synergy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
With performance this raw, you need air that's pure. We started with a firm belief that innovation could improve performance. With the success of 50 years and millions of filters behind us, we continue to look ahead. Guaranteed to protect against dirt and proven to provide up to 50% more airflow. This is filtration for the future.
No. Seriously?
Come on.
No.
You for real?
Dale.
Really?
Wow.
So maybe just a cable?
We can help you.
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination, AutoZone, your battery solution.
Link ECU produces standalone engine management technology with a range of products that allow you to unleash the power of your engine. Acting as your car's brain, Link ECUs control electronic fuel injection and ignition. A magnitude of sensor inputs and outputs ensure your engine exceeds your expectations. Built-in safety features guarantee engine protection, and data logs keep you informed on its performance. Smoke your tires, not your engine, with a world-leading Link ECU.
Welcome back. Look at this. This is a sight for sore eyes and very welcome hearts. This is round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, the Streets of Long Beach. This is AutoZone Streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S. Type S touring items, lights, and many different other items. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're not here in the building, thanks for joining us online. They've been shredding, ripping, and tearing. A 97 up top, that's JTP. Osbo in second, Denofa. And of course, you can see rounding out. Again, if we have 33 drivers, we take the 25 and re-rack the 8 to fill 7 spots. If we have 32, we'll take the top 24, 1 and done. We'll take the bottom 8, what I've deemed the less than grade 8, and re-rack those 8 to fill and finalize at 32. Currently, we have 2 incompletes, that of Kazuya Taguchi and Dean Carnage Carney. So, we are currently at our 25th seated driver. Do the math. Again, when we get to the driver that is en route, potentially in car, don't know, no practice, we'll find out. I'll let you know. Building that anticipation, I'll let you know when we get to that driver. Next, right now on the line, Rome Charpentier. Not a bad commute from him. Lives here in Southern California. The Garagistic, Federal Tires, BMW E36. He's on Federal Tires. Originally from La Costa, California. And here comes Rome Charpentier. All right, coming out of the gate. See how he handles it. E36. Sweeps on in, gets out to the touch and go. Keeping it consistent. Very similar. Ryan, listen to that exhaust note. Just hammering down. Very good on the fluidity. But I will tell you, Ryan, this is kind of reminiscent in my mind of Adam LZ's line. Just a bit off that touch and go. Just a bit off that outside zone 1, 2. Your thoughts?
So you're going in the 85 realm. That's kind of where you're targeting, right?
Yeah.
And the judges have been pretty consistent there. I think without taking the risk of getting out to the walls, and we obviously know what comes of a risk like that on the other side of the coin. But as we take a look at his run from the beginning, let's just see how he kind of approaches the touch and go. Not too bad, maybe about 1.5 foot off there, maybe 2 feet. A little bit better on outside zone 2, so the risk factor is not there in the areas of the course where the judges are asking for you to go to the wall. And what they're really looking at in the approach to the wall is if you really glance it, that's beautiful. If the back bumper compresses completely into the wall, 6-8 inches, that's not good. Or if they hit it and the attitude of the vehicle changes, that's another thing that they look for. We've seen a few guys that have hit the wall pretty hard. They haven't had collapsible bumpers, but the attitude hasn't changed, and that's kind of been what Jonathan Castro did. You can see here where you can really bone a sector.
Yeah.
And not have a ruined score at the end of the day because of the way that the sectors are broken down for the points. And look at Sector 2. Sector 2 there is right underneath the bridge in front of us, and they're putting a lot of importance there. And look, we're right on.
83. That's exactly what Adam LZ had. So there we go. Looks like we've been watching this drifting, huh? So an 83 there for Rome Charpentier. You can see where that slides him in. You kind of want to be, and right on what you said earlier, that you want a C or a C plus in order to really lock in one of those one and done spots. We'll see.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like Long Beach is the only course where the whole thing is K-railed. I wish we could have that for every course that we went to.
Not for carnage, but for pure clarity of,
yeah.
Look, there's no gray area. Here we go. Jonathan Nairn, North Carolina. Always loved Nairn. He's got a smile on his face, but let's make that smile even bigger. Woo! Gets out of the touch and go, transition down. Could have been closer on the outside zone 1. Again, another consistent throttle all the way through. Was deeper on that first touch and go. Quick little massage. Yeah, another scenario. Hit that touch and go, so I think he's going to get maximum points in that first sector. But in that second sector, again, very reminiscent of, again, LZ and just like what we saw of Charpentier.
Let's take a look at the approach here from Nairn. Starts getting back on the throttle at the right place, pushing out.
Boom.
Great job. Now notice he uses a different part of the touch and go. He went a little bit longer, and that may have forced him to kind of miss that first outside zone in terms of the line and not being able to really maximize the points there. A very aggressive run. I like the approach overall. See where he ends up here on the touch and go. It's a little bit further down the course than some of the other drivers. I mean, that's kissing the wall.
Yeah.
Beautiful job there. But what it does is he gets into that zone a little bit late, and he can't really reach out there and get fully extended and deep into that zone. 2 wasn't too bad, but kind of had the same approach just because the line that he started from the touch and go, it's going to be really hard to make a massive adjustment to kind of get back on the perfect line that the judges are looking for.
Smooches for the pooches. Big dog lover here. That ball out there, just putting it down. Jonathan Nairn, Njuku Racing, BC Racing, Federal Tire, Nissan S14. Scores in for Nairn. All right, it's an 85 for Jonathan Nairn, and just as I said. So let's take a look at the cut line. Who is on the bubble? Where are we at? We've seen our top 10, all 90s. Here we go. Now we're going to 20. So you see 90, 190, all 80s. So, and here is our cut line. Again, if we have 33 drivers, we'll take 25. We have 32 drivers, we'll take 24. So Taguchi, obviously. So right now, you need 72 or better. And right now on that bubble is this gentleman's Drift Force teammate. So Josh Reynolds, you can see that car. I was shooting a video over in the VIP suites right there in that Sector 1 overlooking it. And Josh went hard into the wall in that touch and go. So I'm glad to see him back out here and running. Here comes Josh Reynolds. All right, about to take flight with those front fenders. Whoa, buddy. Squirrely Dan. Ryan, I don't know if it's going to get it done. You have to think about unchaseable run. Gets a bit wonky. I think this is about, what's great about this is the car's back up and running. Hard-working crew, Drift Cave. These cars operated by Drift Cave, which is Matt Field and his team up in Northern California. Hats off to them, but is this enough?
I think you hinted at the right thing, is that there's no apparent incomplete, but we're definitely bordering on an unchaseable lead. If you can imagine a chase car, a ghost chase car, trying to adjust to some of the mistakes that are being made, they're not super large, but at proximity, that's going to be really hard to chase. Now, personally, in my opinion, I think this run should be scored, but the judges may very well give it an unchaseable lead. The initiation, he doesn't really get fully to angle. He kind of drives, not straight, but pretty quick through that first section there after the initiation, before the touch and go. And he's really just fighting the car here. He's really just trying to get it through the course and get a score so he doesn't have to do a second run, but he may have to do that overall.
I think the big thing here, Ryan, is it's similar to Simon Olsen. Get through it, as you said, get one run. I want to park it. Let's get hands on the car. Let's see the head-to-head competition. Don't want an incomplete. If it's an incomplete, the reason I would say that is it's more cumulative. It's not one thing. It's a cumulative of, all right, outside zone 1, you're way off. Outside zone 2, okay.
Yeah.
The plot thickens a little bit. Outside zone 3, the car's not 100%.
You went over your allotment.
Yeah.
You went over your allotment.
All right, now you're just pushing it. Now I got to say, yeah. So finding out what's going on here, see if we get a score.
Let us in, guys.
Hey, Lantagne, little headset action here. Lantagne throwing on his headset. And Ryan, what's going on, bud?
Yeah, we looked at that replay a few times. We especially focused on the drone footage, what it showed us is multiple areas where he slowed down, where he shouldn't have been slowing down. One of them was approaching the early touch and go, the first touch and go, and then the second one was the outside zone, touch and go 2 to inside clip 1. He stalled the car out there as well and kind of slowed down in an area like right here, over angled, kind of slowed down. It's a little harder to tell from that view, but from the drone it's very apparent that those mistakes would make his run extremely difficult to chase, and we don't want to be putting somebody in the show that has an unchaseable run that we would incomplete on a tandem battle. So that's why we look at those certain situations to make sure the runs are chaseable.
So you're saying is the verdict is it's an incomplete run?
That's correct.
Thank you very much. So exactly as we kind of deduced, Ryan, is just a cumulative and just the nail in the coffin for him. So unfortunately, Josh Reynolds will have to complete a second run. We'll see if he can get a score on the board. Right now, Kyle Mohan, this is his backyard. I mean, he hop, skipped, and jumped over here. I don't think he drove the actual car over here, but always love seeing Kyle Mohan as Pops, a spotter. The number 99, Kyle Mohan, throwing it on in. That outside touch and go. Gets all the way in it. Transitions back under the bridge where he gets the blood. Gets in the zone. That second outside zone, Ryan, now comes on through. Let's see how he handles that. He's familiar with this track. The best result to date for Kyle Mohan, fourth place here in Long Beach. Can he better it?
Kyle's dad actually spoke with him before the event, and he said, you know what, I think you're going to see a much more fluid Kyle this round. And he said they'd been working on something for a while that was really bothering Kyle when he was driving, and it was causing the car to have some weird inputs, kind of shaking around a little bit. It looked unstable. That certainly seems to be the case here. He looks very smooth and getting through the course, performing pretty well here. I mean, he's not going as fast as some of the other guys, but he's checking all the boxes. He's getting to that touch and go. He's not making any major mistakes. I think this is some of the best driving that we've seen from him. And when he gets to this final inside clip, super tight, passes through it, stays on the throttle through the finish line. I mean, this is a good run by Kyle Mohan.
Yeah, I think all those points, and like you said, what his pop said and what we're seeing on track is definitely reflective of that progression and finding out exactly what his nuances, what's going to work. He's familiar with the course. You know, we haven't changed it since 2005, so it's you know what to expect. Walls, turns, that's it. And once we get into the show, make sure he's dialed as we await his score. And there it is, 84 and 84. So yeah, he is very safe right now. 19. I mean, yeah, he'd be safe because he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, do the math. 19 plus 5, that's 24. Boom, right there. And here we go with the Pedal Commander Burnout Box. We are seeing Wataru Masayama, the Buy Now Japan Sylvia S15 from Yamanashi, Japan. The S15 rose to the occasion in St. Louis. Would love to see him step up. And Ryan, you talked about it, about his driving here in the States, not reflective of how he drives in Japan. So get this car dialed. I feel like it's because he gets a Gucci. See the progression. Masayama comes out to the outside zone. Comes up a little bit short, but definitely not on. He gets in all of the zone of the first one, but the second one comes up a bit short, a little shallow. Some corrections there to wrap it around that inside clip. Ryan just, it's right there. It's right there.
Right now, he's just not at his own level. Let's just put it that way. That is not the kind of typical driving that we see, and it starts right after initiation. You can see the front end was gripping up quite a bit. He wasn't really able to get out to that touch and go. He mashes the throttle, manages to get out to outside zone 2, but you can see the car is just not fluid enough for him. Something is not right in the setup. It's not giving him the kind of, I guess, the overall fluidness and the flow that we typically see from him. His car is usually really loose. He goes lock to lock very quickly and super easily, and this time it just seems like it's a little bit more tight and kind of bounded up. This is not going to be the greatest score in the world. It might be a passing score, like you're saying.
A C, C plus.
Yeah.
That's what he's hoping for. That is what he's hoping for. Well, still with that 97, JTP going toe-to-toe with Osbo, but getting the better, going from style and then going to angle. And JTP delivering. What do we got here for Masayama? 83. So that's actually a great score. That's a solid score. So he is locked and loaded. That will put him into place. So 4 more drivers scheduled for our broadcast in our first run and gun. There is our leaders. You can see 97 to 90 from Pollock to Hull and everybody in between. You can see Castro up there, Field. So they're changed out of the race suits, man. Vonget Jr., Bakshis, Reeder, Hurst. And right now we are seeing Trenton Beecham. Trenton Beecham currently sitting 30th, the Clonex Racing Nexen Tires Ford Mustang. And there is the cut, Ryan. So again, if we have 32 drivers, 24. So right now, Eve Meyer and Robbins would have to go if we have 32 drivers. But it's only Eve Meyer that is guaranteed if we have 32.
And I think a lot of people out there have bated breath on what you mean by if, right? So we should probably get to that at some point here.
I think after Beecham will explain. Here we go. Trent Beecham. Bated breath, love that. Trent Beecham comes up shallow on the touch and go. Kind of middle of the road here for Beecham. Oh! Taps that wall. He gets all into the zone. Slam dances his way in. Checks up quite a bit, Ryan. And now across the finish line. Loud and proud. But walk us through it. Come out swinging, but come up shallow on the touch and go. But when it comes to outside zone 1, shallow, but 2, he made his presence felt.
Yeah, Beecham showed a lot of maturity in St. Louis. He made some public comments to the extent of, look, I'm just not driving well enough into the abilities that I have. And I think he wants to have a good performance out here in Long Beach. But you can see he doesn't get out to that touch and go. And that right there is the start of potential problems. It's hard to make adjustments on this course, but surprisingly, he's actually able to get right out to that second outside zone. And so he's going to be able to kind of get back and draw some points back to his side of things. Unfortunately, the way that he was coming into the touch and go had him on a line that was a little bit off, and so he had to make that adjustment around the inside clip as well. I think the biggest mistake will be the touch and go area, just not being able to maximize points by getting out to the wall there. So we'll see where the judges slot this run and see if he can pass that cutoff of 74 points.
So what we were talking about, Ryan, we're talking about that cutoff. Earlier today, I got a DM from Federico Sharifo. He is currently scheduled at 32nd, but Fedi texted me and DM'd me and said that basically he's been having a whirlwind of a travel experience. Just landed after 48 hours of trying to travel from Italy, and unfortunately this is what's been going on. So he's literally either in his car, jumping in his car now ideally, or shortly, but he's going straight from, okay, so Beecham with a 76, he's under the cut. He will have to go again. So, again, Federico Sharifo is next after Kenshiro Gushi, and then we'll see Ryan Littoral. So 3 vehicles left if Fedi is here for his first run.
And I see his car back there, but I think it's
has to be him.
Worth noting that he had to go back to Italy basically for COVID protocols.
Yep.
So coming back into the States, he has not practiced. He has done nothing but travel for many, many, many hours, literally driving from LAX to here to try to make this run.
Here we go. Ken Gushi. It's all about Ken Gushi right now. There's Ready Performance, Toyota Racing, GR Supra. Ryan. Kenshiro Gushi, a veteran of the sport, an absolute talent. And the Ready Toyota Gazoo Racing Supra goes hard on the wall. Ryan, I believe, incomplete.
I think that is going to be an incomplete, and unfortunately for Ken, he has had such bad luck this year with the vehicle mechanically, and his hometown track here at Long Beach, along with Irwindale, he wants a good showing. but it's not going to happen on this first run. This is one of the possible effects of just getting into the wall a little bit too deep. That bumper collapses, that left rear hits the wall, and it pushes the attitude of the car towards the wall. And that's just not going to give you momentum to move over to outside zone number 1 and finish up the run. Now, Ken does complete it, but I feel pretty confident on this one that this is going to be an incomplete.
Yeah, and that is that confirmed? Is that an incomplete there, boys? Yes, it is. We are seeing triple zeros. So unfortunately for this OG, Kenshiro Gushi, that will be an incomplete. So I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 incompletes. Now, we are hearing that Federico did make it. He is here. He is in the building. And going from, we are hearing 1 practice lap.
Yeah, I stand corrected. I made a mistake on that. He did get 1 practice lap, but that's not really saying that much.
Yeah.
You have to remember the history between him and this vehicle, and the course. Yeah, I mean, for fans that are new to the sport, that have just been coming in over the past year or so, one of the most unbelievable events happened here with Federico in 2018, I want to say, where that car literally went up in flames in turn 9.
Right there. Instead of turning right at the touch and go, he went straight through, car caught fire, and it was a scary, precarious moment. Here we go. Federico Sciarrifo in the building, fresh from Italy. Fails to get all the way to the touch and go. Big, massive angle there. Comes up very shallow. Very shallow on that inside line. And around that final front clip ride, Federico Sciarrifo.
I mean, I think that man is owed a bow of respect.
Yeah.
You can see even with the troubles that he had there on initiation where the car wanted to push out to the wall, he's not able to really feel the touch and go. After he leaves outside zone 2, you can see the car gets on the wrong line. He gets right on the rumble strips. He's super tight, so he misses outside zone 2. So it's not going to be a very well-scored run. And you'll see that not getting out to that touch and go and then trying to make it over to 2, he angles up the car and the car's pointed right at the opposite wall, so he's not able to kind of continue the momentum needed to get out to outside zone 2, so he just kind of forgoes that. I mean, I don't think the judges are going to incomplete this. They might, just because of the possible of it being unchaseable, but for me, I do believe it should be scored. But he definitely
so shallow though. I mean, I love the dude, and even in that DM, he says, "I never give up, Jared, as you know."
Yes.
So that is admirable. It owes respect, but that'll be an incomplete, and that is official, Ryan.
All right.
Just taking that was way too shallow.
I know.
I think he's pulling on your heartstrings a little bit, but let's take the emotion out of it. Let's take all the stressors out of it. That is deemed an incomplete, and I agree with the judges. 5 incompletes total, and we have 1 more driver left. So again, we'll take the bottom 25. So 26 and lower will be re-racked as the less than grade 8, and we will fill the spots. Question is, one driver here that has their run will be watching from the stands tomorrow, because we have 33 drivers in total. That includes Ryan Littoral. Here we go. Ryan Little from Riverside, California, just down the 91. Power Stop Brakes S15 GT Radial. Here we go. Ryan running that RB Army under the hood of a Nissan S15 all the way out there. Gets out the touch and go. Counters back. A little shallow off of that first outside. Woo! Gets all the way to that second outside zone. Gets in the zone. Auto zone. Around the front clip. Ryan Littoral with the full pull. I'm claiming a high 80 there, Ryan. About an 87, maybe 89.
If you pinpoint on the line part of it, it's a really solid run. Like you said, a little bit shallow on the angle. I like to see him use angle to slow the vehicle down. But line-wise, he's pretty on point. Gets really close to outside zone 2. Gets to this final touch and go and positions the car pretty well through the final inside clip. Now let's take a look at it from above here. You can see it gets right out to the touch and go. Nice transition back around. The only thing that's missing, only ingredient that's missing here is just a little bit more angle. And using that angle to kind of slow the vehicle down. The judges just love to see that. But the line is on point. That's a pretty good transition, so I think you're probably right. It's going to be, mid to upper 80s.
So if Ryan Little gets an 80 score, our incompletes right now, Kazuya Taguchi, Dean Carnage Carney, Josh Reynolds, Kenshiro Gushi, and Federico Sharifo. And then in between that, drivers that have scores but are unfortunately low, here we go with the score. And it's an 85. So coincidentally, there are 5 drivers have incompletes and 3 drivers that are in the 70s. Those are our bottom 8. So I'm looking at this and laying it out here. The drivers with incompletes, Kazuya Taguchi, Dean Carnage Carney. After him, I believe, unofficially, will be Yves Meyer, Alec Robbins with a 74, Josh Reynolds with an incomplete, Trenton Beecham with a 76, Kenshiro Gushi with an incomplete, Federico Sharifo. That would equate to 8. Taking our top 25, re-racking the 8, and only 7 of those 8 drivers will be in the head-to-head tomorrow.
It hasn't happened often this year. We've had events where we've had one guy miss, and so we end up with a field of 32. We've had a couple events with bye runs, not because the guys missed, but because we've had double zeros,
right?
Or we've had mechanicals. This is, I think, first time in a couple events where we are going to see somebody sitting out the weekend.
Yep.
I think the guys that have scores in the second run have a little bit less to worry about because they've got that backup score. The guys with the zeros, they've really got to focus on laying down a big run.
Real quick, talking about scores and runs, this is Frederick Osbo. This is how they got that #1 spot. Initially, Frederick Osbo came out swinging. Think Freddie early on. He's currently sitting 3rd in points. Got to the wall. You can see him sans that front bumper, sans the headlights, racks up a great score at 97 with a perfect style run.
Yeah,
or style scores.
It's so weird to not see the Supra with the front.
Yeah.
And
JTP.
it makes you think about the run a little bit differently, but you could see why. It had all the positive attributes. Now JTP, on the other hand, his car is fully put together. He didn't have any damage in practice, but this is just stereotypical JTP. Pushing so hard and going right up to the line without going over. And he was able to do that, lay down a solid score. It's a monster run, and so congratulations to those 2 guys, top qualifiers here today.
No points at stake, bragging rights, where you stand up, who you go against, that's what it's all about. But now the pressure is on the less than grade 8. One driver will watch from the grandstands that the fans hopefully will be coming out in droves. We are excited to be back here. Look at this, a sight for sore eyes, but again, filling those drift hearts and faces with smoke. Thank you so much. As when we come back, we'll re-rack them and stack them, the less than grade 8. We will see 8 drivers, 7 of which will join the other 25 when we come back here to the AutoZone Streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. Synergy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
No. Seriously?
Oh, come on.
No.
You for real?
Dale.
Really?
Wow.
So maybe just a cable?
We can help you.
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination, AutoZone, your battery solution.
With performance this raw, you need air that's pure. We started with a firm belief that innovation could improve performance. With the success of 50 years and millions of filters behind us, we continue to look ahead. Guaranteed to protect against dirt and proven to provide up to 50% more airflow. This is filtration for the future.
The Pedal Commander is the world's most advanced throttle response controller. It's a plug-and-play unit that unleashes the power of your vehicle. Has 36 total settings, is easy to install, and makes the driving experience so much more fun.
Picks up RPMs way better, kind of like a race car, it responds.
Order now and use code FD2021 for $30 off your purchase.
Are you ready to party streets of Long Beach? Make some noise! Top 16, Chelsea to no power run.
I'm Frederick Ospo, driver of the Rockstar Energy Toyota GR Supra. I think my competitive approach for 2021 is to just go out there and have fun. It's so easy to get caught up in the competitive nature of everything, trying to please fans and sponsors and all this stuff, when in reality, we probably have the best job in the world, so why not go out there and just enjoy it? Expectations for 2021 is that it's going to be the most competitive year so far. We're up against incredible talent. There's been some shakeups, you know, with tire lineups for teams this year. Some guys are on new tires, a couple new tracks thrown into the mix. So it'll be a nail-biting season. Biggest rivals. I mean, if you look at the data, the Nitto team was really strong in 2020. You know, with RTR boys, with my teammate Ryan, Adam LZ coming in this year on the Nitto team. I think all of us are out there to win. Favorite thing about drifting in Formula Drift is probably that it's still a young sport. There's no set recipe of how to win or what car to choose or what engine or what platform or, it's still really anyone's game. And you have a turbo 6-cylinder winning one day, a 4-banger the other day, a V8, rotaries are still out there. It's still kind of like a coin toss of who's going to do well. Prediction in 2021 for myself is that we're gonna have a strong car and team. And when it comes to my own driving, I'm honestly not sure. Obviously, I hope for the best. Obviously, I've been training in the off season. Obviously, I know what I can do, but at the same time, it takes just split second of not being focused. So I try to be very humble about my own potential, but at the same time, I'm here to kill.
All right, we are back. Look at that signature backdrop. The city line, the skyline of Long Beach. The wind is blowing. It is just beautiful. I mean, it's like, you know, tank tops and flip-flops, or like Jack Johnson's tees, you can go jeans and flip-flops. I mean, it's absolutely ideal day here. The streets of Long Beach, AutoZone Streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S. We have our 8 drivers, 7 of which will move on. The question is, who is it going to be?
And we're just getting started. This is the start, the end of the first day of,
yeah, good point,
what to me goes back and forth between Road Atlanta,
okay,
Irwindale, sometimes Seattle, depends on the year, of my favorite event. I love this event so much. The fans are incredible. It's always a sellout on Saturdays, and
just has a great vibe.
The energy, the way that the course is set up, how well the drivers perform. And we've got all that left to go.
Yes, sir.
It's a treat for everybody.
It is.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
Yep. That's right. That is right. Jelly of the Month Club. All right, so again, Kazuya Taguchi. These are the drivers in this order that are on the not-so-great 8. Kazuya Taguchi, Dean Carney, Eve Meyer, Alec Robbins, Joshua Reynolds, Trenton Beecham, Kenshiro Gucci, and Federico Sharif. Those are our 8 drivers that we will be seeing throwing it down. We will take the better of the 2 scores. For those 3 drivers, Eve Meyer, Alec Robbins, and Trenton Beecham, we will take the better of the 2 scores, but that is not exactly how they're going to end up. So we will see. All right, and here we go. Sandy Car is our first vehicle. Kazuya Taguchi, that Up Garage ISR GT Radial 86. He looped it on his first run. That was an incomplete. This is do or die. Kazuya Taguchi, 8 points. Comes up a bit short, Ryan. Ooh, gets very deep, gets in the zone. Second gets in the zone as well, now approaching that final front clip. Got to score on the board. Gonna score a little bit low on that touch and go, but gets in the zone in the first and second. Let's see what the judges think.
Yeah, and it's one of those events where the scores here really do matter in terms of making it in the top 32, because we are going to see a driver go out. And so trying to maximize the number of points that you collect, super important here on this second run. Misses the touch and go, much better on outside zone 2. The line he was drawing there, I think, pushed him a little bit longer than he needed to be in outside zone 2. But overall, this run, I think, is going to be enough to get him through. It's probably going to be mid to high 80s, I would say, something like that. That seems like that's going to be enough. But at the same time, these second runs for the guys that don't have a score, I think, are a little bit more pressure-filled than those that do. Just because that 0-0 so a 0-0 basically means that you're out altogether. You're out, right? So yeah. It's possible. It's
not for Eve Meyer, Alec Robbins, or Trenton Beecham. If those guys have an incomplete, they will default to their score.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying 2 runs with the 0. Right. Yeah, then you got a big problem.
You're out. Sorry. Yes. You are correct. All right. So waiting for Kazuya Taguchi's score. He makes his way back to the pits, and here comes in, and that will be a 85. You called it, Ryan. So mid 80s. That's an 85.
that does not guarantee anything up until this point. If there is a score lower than that, he's in. That is guaranteed. Next up, Dean Carnage Carney threw a power steering belt on his first run as he entered into that first outside zone. He transitioned out of the touch and go into that first outside zone. Show me what you got. Here we go. Dean Carnage Carney. Oracle Lighting, Dodge Viper. Gotta love Carnage. Yes, sir! Woo! Okay. Okay, here we go. Dean throwing it down. Next and tire smoke going all about. And that's how you do it, my friend. Not leaving it in the judges' hands. So, yes. So now with that score, if that's better than Kazuya Taguchi, bang, he's in top 32. Cannot do any better than 25th.
I think the deductions here on this run are really going to come in the form of line. Angle, I think he's doing okay with, and style with fluidity and commitment. Besides not getting out to the wall, I think the biggest deduction we're going to see is on the line side of things. And that might mean that the score is still relatively high. He starts off his run with a really big risk maneuver there. And he's not super shabby on outside zone 2, or excuse me, outside zone 1. 2 is a little bit worse, but I still feel this has a possibility of going higher than the 85, just because the driving was pretty dynamic, and the areas where it was clear that there were mistakes was in line, not so clear in other places.
That's so great. I'm talking about the paddock. It's great to see that filled. But also that line by Dean Carnage Carney. And here we go. 87. So there you go. Ryan, get out of their heads. Just all up in their cerebellums.
It gives you confidence when that happens, but there's many times when I don't have confidence. I'm like, dude, crap, did I not pay attention in the driver's meeting? What did I miss?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. But do I pay attention to drivers' meetings? Yes, I do. And I also take videos. And I take amazing videos of Larry Chen.
Eating chips, yeah.
Larry Chip. Larry Chip. I'm glad that video brought you joy.
It gave me so much joy, so much happiness. It just, I just love it.
There we go.
It's very Larry David.
Yves Meyer on his second run. He does have a 72 that he can rest upon, but he's going to need to step it up. Some wobbling coming in there, Ryan. Out into that second outside zone. He is middle of the road. He is flirting with a lackluster score here. He is really flirting with it, Ryan.
Yeah, to me, this is another example of it's more car than driver. I don't think the car is really where he wants it right now. It feels like he's kind of fighting the car a little bit. It's gripping up probably a little bit more. Notice not making very much smoke at all. So the car is not loose. And I don't think that he probably had either proper time or something happened to where during practice he wasn't really able to get the settings the way that he wanted to. So he's got those 2 scores, or he'll have 2 scores now. Question's going to be, is anybody else going to best those 2 scores? I feel like he's going to be okay.
When you say okay, like I think
he'll
be fine. But score-wise, how do you think?
Oh, what I think the number? It's going to be like it'll be like a. Shoot, I didn't do a deep evaluation. It'll probably be like an 80.
I'm gonna say 80.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say an 80. I'm gonna say an 80.
Could be 81. Could be 79.
He's backing up into the drift cave. Definitely 79. Rain Man right now. Here we go. And it's a 77.
See.
77.
You got to go with your intuition.
Yeah. Yep. So Yves Meyer currently on the outside looking in. That means Taguchi and Carney are in the show. 5 drivers left. If they score better than a 77, given that, again, the tiebreakers, if you go a 78 or higher, Yves Meyer's on the outside. Alec Robbins, we saw him go into the wall. He hit the wall. He had that tire pop off. He did surprisingly complete a score as a 74. Here we go. Alec Robbins throws it in. Oh, massive angle from Robbins. No.
Oh.
Ryan.
So that's
right.
double,
So
that's
he
double
so,
zeros.
No, 74. That's what I just said.
Okay.
He completed his first run on a 74. So right now.
All right. Making it real clear on those tires. Tell me you thought for a second that second run
was going to be epic. Was going to be his number one qualifying run from St. Louis.
That's exactly what I thought.
And that's what Justin Pollock had.
Yeah.
Remember, if Justin Pollock, he had an incomplete on his first run, and he comes out and had like a 97 on his second.
Yeah, so Pollock didn't go over the edge in his run.
No.
And Robbins just went over a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you're at that line, it's easy to go over.
You're flirting with disaster. You're riding that razor's edge. We say it. Look at this. I mean, look.
So that angle could be held. As soon as he gets to there, I think it's over.
Yeah. So again, here's the scenario, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. We have 4 drivers left. Robbins does have a score in his first run. I will tell you that Beecham is already sitting on a 76. So he is guaranteed to be in the show. Beecham is guaranteed. Reynolds, Gucci, Federico. If they have an incomplete or lower than a 74, they are out. Robbins is in.
All right, I'm with you.
Cool. Josh Reynolds. And this was a driver who, talk about not driver, car, prefacing. I really like that statement, Ryan. It's not the driver, it's the car. He's had some, look at both the Drift Force vehicles. They've gotten to the wall. They're not 100% comfortable. How much confidence do you have? Josh Reynolds comes in. You stall the course. Transit. Slapping it.
Oh, crap.
Oh, boy. As Josh Reynolds, that will be a double zero for Josh Reynolds.
Oh, no. That means any score.
That means Robbins is fortunately in.
Yeah.
Josh Reynolds is out. Beecham is in. Now, Gucci, Federico, any score gets them in 32.
That was actually, and man, when you have moments like that, it gets real scary real quick. I apologize if I caught you off guard.
No, you didn't. Yeah,
caught you off guard there. But I could see that starting to brew up. This actually wasn't as bad as it could have been. Those contact with outside zone 2. Let's take a look at it.
The front end took a heavy punch.
It did.
But as far as precariousness and danger.
So that to this part right here could have been a lot worse. We've seen cars not glance off that wall, but basically be stopped by that wall because of the angle that they were at.
Darren McNamara years ago, Ryan Turk, the crowd applauds Josh Reynolds that he's out of the car. Thank you, corner workers, and like you said, Darren McNamara back in the day, Ryan Turk 2019. Let's lay out and listen. How much confidence do you have? Josh Reynolds comes in. You stall the course. Transit. Slapping it.
Oh, crap.
Oh, boy. As Josh Reynolds. Yeah. Got a little zealous there, Ryan.
Yeah, I did.
You fuckered up.
I did.
Well, we have 3 more drivers left. Excuse me. 3 more drivers left. I got a little verklempt there. Beecham, Gucci, Federico. Beecham is in the show. Robbins is in the show. So with that rolling burnout where he exited stage right, got a little, that's what happens.
It does. The only other time that's happened for me that I can remember is when I got attacked by a bee in FD Japan. And in the booth live, and an SH came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in myself. But I mean, literally, I was getting attacked.
Oh, Ryan, the years of memories.
Yeah.
17 plus years at the culmination of the season will be 18, and so just think about that. 22 will be 19 years. 23, 20 years of Formula Drift. It's got to be epic, dude.
Pretty crazy, man. Yeah. And this event
you're
has
how
been
old now? People look it up, so just tell
41.
me. 41.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll continue on. Will Beecham take his second run? He doesn't need to. He's already in the show, and he can't do any better than 26th. So when we come back, we'll find out if he takes his run. But Gucci and Federico, it is do or die.
AutoZone, the streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
With performance this raw, you need air that's pure. We started with a firm belief that innovation could improve performance. With the success of 50 years and millions of filters behind us, we continue to look ahead. Guaranteed to protect against dirt and proven to provide up to 50% more airflow. This is filtration for the future.
No. Seriously?
Come on.
No.
You for real?
Dale.
Really?
Wow.
So maybe just a cable?
We can help you.
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination, AutoZone, your battery solution.
Oh, we are scuffed up, ripping, ready to roar as a hashtag get in the zone, AutoZone. Those are our two outside zones. Under the bridge is where they drew some blood or they drew some bumper and paint on the wall. So Trenton Beecham is going for his second run. He can't do any better than that of 26th. So again, we're taking 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. So 26 through 32 is what we're filling. And right now, out of those drivers, an 87 of Dean Carney, he would slide into 26th. 3 more drivers left, including this man from Agoura Hills, California, Trenton Beecham. He does have a score, which is a 76. All right, initiates into, and that's going to be shuttered down.
I kind of sense that.
Yeah.
A little bit on the approach.
Fortunately, he does have a score.
Yeah, he has a score. There's still a little bit of danger for some of the remaining guys that don't have a score because there's still the possibility that there could be a double zero, and that would mean that there would be a bye for the first place qualifier if that happens.
So that's where Gucci and Fetty, that's where it lands. Fetty Wap. All right, Beecham exits. 999. Ryan, so you're going to pass on my dinner offer? You're just going to pass, dog? It's all good. I mean, it's good. I have friends. I have friends. It's cool. It's all good. All right, we're in the Pedal Commander Burnout box with Kenshiro Gucci, the Creddy Performance Toyota Racing Toyota GR Supra, born in Okinawa, Japan.
One point gets him in. That's it.
Un point. To get 1 point, I'd love to see that run, what that would look like. You can't do it.
I don't think, no.
You can never do it.
You can't.
You can't. You literally can't do it. You're like, dink, and then just roll through the rest. No,
Yeah, there's
that's
no
incomplete.
1 point.
You literally can't do it. So here we go. Where's he going to land? Kenshiro Gushi came in swinging in that touch and go.
Come on, buddy.
Keeps it between the lines. Nice job there under the bridge. Kenshiro Gushi sweeps through. He got in the zone. Could have been deeper, obviously.
He's in.
He's in. Claiming 74. Like are you going higher? 77?
I'm going to go a little bit higher.
77, 78?
I'm going to go 81.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So Kenshiro Gushi does get a score. He is in top 32. Unfortunately, Reynolds is going to be out. And right now, Justin Pollock is looking from the sides and saying, hey, if Fetty doesn't get in, that means he will have a bye run in the top 16. One more driver after this, and we talked about Federico Sharifo. One practice run, comes in here. Unfortunately has an incomplete, but Gushi does get a complete run. What is the score? T-minus moments before we find out. As Gushi strolls back to the pits. Remember, we are live here tomorrow. What time is that, Kemp? We are going on. Tomorrow, our live stream kicks off for our top 32. And an 83. So Ryan, nice call out there. So it looks like he will slide into that 27th spot. No, excuse me, 28th. As currently Dean Carnage Carney has an 87, Taguchi 85, Gushi 83. And move on to Meyer, Beecham, Robbins. Here we go, our final driver of the day. And this is Federico Sharifo behind the wheel of his Ferrari. That is the 599 GTB Fiorella. He needs a score, otherwise he is not in. He has an incomplete on his first run, comes out, like he says, he doesn't quit. You know that. Triple F Racing Department car's looking smooth, it's looking loose. Doesn't get all the way to that second outside zone, but looks like he does manage to keep it together. And Federico Sharifo crosses that finish line, and he completes it. We will have a top 32 field, my friends.
That is quite an
Precarious.
accomplishment, honestly. I mean, you know how hard
Yes.
it can be to fly international.
Oh, yeah.
And to do what he did and get through this qualifying after one practice run is saying quite a bit. So congratulations to him getting through, getting that score. Didn't matter what it was, just needed to put one in the books. He did that, did not buckle under the pressure, and showed a lot of fortitude there. Congratulations, Fetty.
Hey, real quick, for those in the building, some Hummer H3 keys were found. Locate them in the media center. Thank you so much. Ask a Formula Drift staff member. Some Hummer H3 keys. Check your pockets. So Federico Sharifo does get a score. Where is it at? We'll find out. But let's take a look at our schedule for the live stream tomorrow. We will be live with our top 32 at 10:45. 10:45 live stream with our top 32 beginning at 11 o'clock. And waiting for Federico's score. Scores are in for Fetty. And it's a 80. That is a clean 8-0 for Federico Sharifo. Congratulations to him. Grab some sleep. All the drivers, unfortunately, Josh Reynolds will be watching from the sidelines. Ryan, closing thoughts here, coming back. Great to see you, great to smell you, great to touch you, and excited to announce with you Long Beach. You could feel it. You could feel it coming in the air tonight. Hold on.
Yeah, no, this is great. We've been talking up Long Beach all day. There's a reason for it. This is always our kickoff event of the year. Because of all the crazy circumstances around the world, we find ourselves in September. We just have to give so much thanks to the city of Long Beach and to the Long Beach Grand Prix for helping us see through this crazy time and putting together this event. And of course, all the fire and police that support this event. It could not happen without you guys. And we are ready to get the main event underway tomorrow.
Ryan, we're waiting, again, unofficially, this is our bracket. This is how it shapes up. Justin Pollock, notably, #1 qualifier. That's how it shapes up. Go ahead, snap away. This is unofficial, of course, just where the chips fall. We always just say unofficial until we look through it, but this is our initial knee-jerk reaction of 33 drivers coming in. This is where the chips fell into 32. All right, again, our men's journal knockout qualifying, that's a wrap. We kick off our NOS Energy Drink Top 32, and here's tomorrow's schedule. Tune in. Ryan Sage, Lorette Nickel will be joining us, and 10:45, our Pro Top 32. We'll rip through our 32, and then we'll have our Top 16 driver introduction. 3 p.m. local time. We'll send it here on the streets of Long Beach. Thank you, guys and gals. Thank you, our judges, Chris Yule, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lontaine, and all you Drift fans. We'll be back here. There were the times, 10:45, see Top 32. The AutoZone, Streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S, here in Strong Beach, AKA Long Beach. Round 7 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. I'm Jared Deenda. We'll see you tomorrow. Send it. Are you ready to party, streets of Long Beach? Make some noise.